I used to post everything on Instagram. What I ate, what I wore, where I went. My stories were always full. Videos from coffee shops, photos outside my apartment, boomerangs from the gym. I liked people knowing what I was up to. It made me feel seen. Until her. It started with a comment. Cute top. I saw you at Blue Bean Cafe yesterday. You looked even better in person. Her username was something like a glass kitten 42. I didn't recognize her. I assumed maybe she was a classmate or just someone local. The cafe was popular, and I had posted a story from there that morning. I replied, just to be polite. Aw, thank you. Should have said hi. She did. The next day, I was walking out of my building when I heard someone behind me call, "Hey, Kelly, right?" I turned, and there she was. About my age. Dyed red hair, chipped black nails, and this off smile. Wide, too wide. She introduced herself as Kat and said she followed me on Instagram. She talked fast, like she'd had 5 Red Bulls, telling me she loved my posts, my style, the way I edited photos. I laughed awkwardly and said thanks, trying to be friendly. She asked if she could walk with me to the bus stop. I didn't see the harm, but something about her made my stomach turn. Her energy was too much. She kept glancing at me like she was memorizing my face. She asked a lot of questions. What unit I lived in, what classes I was taking, what time I usually got home. I gave vague answers, trying not to be rude but definitely not wanting to be detailed. When I got on the bus, I thought I was free. That night, she messaged me. "So nice finally meeting you. Your laugh is so cute, 3. I didn't reply. The next day, she messaged again. "Loved your green sweater today. Green's definitely your color." I hadn't posted a photo in that outfit. I checked my apartment windows. All closed, curtains drawn. Still, I felt exposed. I blocked her. A few days went by. Quiet. I was relieved. Then, my friend Sophie sent me a screenshot from a new account, a cat's issue. There was a photo of me, taken from across the street. Just me locking my door, unaware. Caption: "Can't believe she blocked me." My stomach flipped. I reported the account and stayed with Sophie for the night. I didn't want to go home. When I finally did 2 days later, I found a note shoved under my door. It said, in messy handwriting, "You don't have to post for me to know where you are." I called the cops. They were polite but mostly shrugged. "Unless she breaks in or touches you, there's not much we can do," they said. I started deleting my posts, removed all location tags, made everything private. I thought she was gone. Then last week, someone buzzed my apartment at 3:14 a.m. I was half asleep and almost pressed the button out of habit, but something stopped me. I stayed quiet, didn't move. A minute passed, then another. Then, "Kelly," a voice whispered through the intercom. "I saw the light in your bathroom. I know you're up. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I got new locks, changed my route to school, stopped posting completely, but she's still out there. This morning I found a package outside my door. Inside was a phone. Just a phone. It wasn't mine. I powered it on. There was one folder in the gallery. It was full of pictures of me, shopping, walking, reading on the bench near the park, sleeping. I think she broke in. I haven't told anyone yet. What's the point? The police will shrug again. I just checked my peephole. There's no one there. But I swear, I heard breathing." I don't usually accept friend requests from people I don't know. But last year, when I was stuck alone in my dorm during a long weekend, I got a message that changed everything. It started with a friend request on Facebook from someone named Mark. No last name. No mutual friends. His profile picture was a blurry selfie of a guy with sunglasses, sitting in a car. Nothing about him seemed real or interesting, so I almost ignored it. But then he sent me a message. "Hey, you look like you could use someone to talk to." That sounded weird, but also kinda nice. I had been feeling lonely, and I was bored. So I replied, "Thanks, I guess." At first, our conversation was normal. He asked about my classes, what I was studying, if I liked music. I was careful, not to say too much, but Mark was good at keeping the chat going. He seemed funny, even kind. He told me he was from a small town far away, and he worked in a place I had never heard of. He said he traveled a lot and loved meeting new people online. One night, I told him I was scared. I was struggling with some stuff. Stress from school, feeling invisible. I never told anyone this before. He said, "I get it. I'm here for you." I believed him. Then the strange things started. It was around 2 a.m. when my phone lit up. Mark sent me a photo. It was a picture of my dorm building. Not taken from a drone or something, but from the sidewalk. The image was sharp, clear enough to see the front door, even the numbers on the windows. I froze. "How do you have this?" I typed, my fingers shaking. His reply was quick. "I'm closer than you think." I wanted to block him, but I was scared he'd get angry. The next day, I asked my roommate if she had seen anyone strange around. She said no, but she joked I was watching too many horror movies. I tried to ignore it. But then I noticed my Instagram account acting weird. Some pictures I hadn't posted were suddenly there. Photos of me sleeping, me studying in the library, me walking alone at night. Checked my phone for signs of hacking. My passwords were safe. No unfamiliar devices logged in. That night, I decided to stay awake, scrolling through Mark's messages. He kept sending me creepy things, screenshots of my texts, photos of my dorm stairwell, pictures of my door from the hallway. The worst was a video. It was just 10 seconds long, grainy and shaky. It showed a shadow moving outside my window. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I told my RA. She said she'd watch the hall and report it. I wanted to feel safe, but I still felt like someone was watching. Days later, I got another message. "Let's meet." I panicked. I refused. Then, he sent me my address. My real address. Not the dorms. I never gave that out. I called campus security. They told me they'd increase patrols, but warned me it might be hard to find him without proof. I was scared to leave my room. Every time I opened my door, I looked down the hallway 3 times before stepping out. One night, I heard knocking. Not at my door. At the window. I didn't have curtains. I ran to the kitchen and grabbed a knife. The knocking stopped. I never looked out. The next day, I checked my phone again. Mark's profile was gone. No posts, no friends. Like he had disappeared. But I wasn't safe, because my phone started acting strange. Sometimes it would ring, but when I answered, no one was there. Other times, my voice assistant would turn on by itself, playing static or strange breathing sounds. I showed my roommate. She was freaked out. I started changing my passwords every day. I deleted all social media. Still, the feeling stayed. One evening, I was in the shower when I heard a soft buzz on my phone. I thought I left it outside, so I grabbed it. A message was, "There, I'm inside." I screamed and dropped the phone. I ran out, wrapped myself in a towel, and locked my door. I called 911. The police searched my dorm. No one was there. No signs of breaking in. But when they checked the window, they found scratches on the glass, fresh. After that, the university offered me to move to a different dorm. I took it, even though it meant missing my classes. The last thing Mark sent me was a video message. It was a few seconds of black screen. Then, words appeared typed on the screen, one by one. See you soon. I don't know who he is. I don't know how he found me, but I know he's still out there, and I'm terrified that someday I'll see him in real life. I thought it was normal to share my day on social media. Like lots of people, I posted photos and tagged the places I visited. It felt fun to let my friends see where I was and what I was doing. But one simple mistake turned my life into a nightmare. It happened last summer. I was visiting a small town to meet my cousin. We spent the day at a park by a river, eating ice cream and walking under the tall trees. I took pictures and posted them on Instagram, tagging the park location like usual. That night, I got a message from someone I didn't know. His profile said his name was Jason, and he claimed to love the same park. "Hey," he wrote. "I saw your photos from today. That park is my favorite place. Do you come there often?" I answered politely. "Just today. I'm visiting my cousin." Jason replied fast. He seemed nice, talking about the park, the river, and his dog. I didn't think much about it. It was just a friendly chat. The next day, I posted another photo, this time from a coffee shop near my cousin's house. Again, I tagged the location. Jason messaged me again. "Nice spot. Do you live near here?" I didn't want to be rude, but I didn't want to share my address, so I said, "No, I'm just visiting." He kept asking questions about where I was staying and how long I'd be in town. I avoided answering. Over the next few days, I realized Jason was watching my posts closely. Whenever I tagged a new location, he would comment almost immediately. It felt off. One afternoon, I was at the grocery store buying snacks. My phone buzzed. Jason sent a photo. It was of me, taken from across the street. I hadn't seen anyone, but there I was, standing in front of the store, looking at the shelves. I stared at the photo, frozen. I didn't reply. That evening, I told my cousin. He was worried and said, "Maybe block him." I did. For a few days it was quiet. Then the messages started again. From a new account, but the same pictures of me. Different angles, different times. Sometimes photos I hadn't posted anywhere. It was like he was following me. I stopped going out alone. I stopped tagging locations. I deleted my social media, but it didn't stop. One night, I heard noises outside my cousin's house. Soft footsteps, rustling leaves. I looked through the window. No one. Then, my phone buzzed. A message from a number I didn't know. "Why did you delete your posts?" I just wanted to say hi. My heart pounded. I called the police. They said they'd patrol the area. The next day, I found scratches on the side of the door. I locked it tighter. For the last 2 weeks, I've been living scared. Every noise makes me jump. I don't post anymore. I don't answer unknown messages, and I'm thinking about leaving the town early. I still don't know who Jason really is, but I'm sure he's been closer than I wanted. Closer than I can see. I like to take pictures. It's how I remember things. I often share my photos on social media, mostly Instagram and Snapchat. Nothing fancy, just everyday moments. Sometimes I post pictures of my walks, my coffee, or my cat. One evening last fall, I went for a walk near my apartment. The air was cool, and the street was quiet. I took some pictures of the trees and the old brick buildings. When I got home, I uploaded the photos to my Instagram story, tagging the location. The next day, I noticed something strange. In one of the photos, behind the trees, there was a shadowy figure. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light, or a person passing by. But the more I looked, the more it seemed like someone was standing still, watching me. I showed the photo to my roommate, Sarah. "Maybe it's just someone walking," she said, "or someone's reflection." I nodded, but it didn't feel right. Then, a few hours later, I got a direct message on Instagram from a user named Quiet Steps. The message said, "Nice photo. I like being part of your world." I didn't reply. The next day, I posted more photos from around the neighborhood. Each time I checked carefully, and yes, there was the figure again. Always in the background, always just out of focus. The messages from A Quiet Steps kept coming, short and strange, watching, close, always near. I blocked the account, but a new one appeared the next day with the same messages. I started feeling nervous. I stopped posting photos, but the figure was still there. I even showed the photos to my parents on a video call. They said, "Maybe you're just imagining things," but deep down, I knew it wasn't imagination. One night, I was alone in the apartment. The power went out suddenly. It was pitch black. I heard footsteps outside my door. My heart was beating fast. I grabbed my phone to use the flashlight. The footsteps stopped. I didn't open the door. I texted Sarah, who was out of town. She told me to call the police if I felt unsafe. I didn't want to. I just wanted to disappear. The next morning, I looked at my phone. There was a new message on Instagram. From a new account, but with the same words. "Why don't you let me in?" I checked the window. No one. I closed the curtains and locked every door. Since then, I don't leave the apartment alone. I don't post photos. I don't even open my blinds. The figure is still there, hiding in my pictures, and I'm afraid it's waiting for me to notice it. Waiting for me to make a mistake. I never thought something as simple as a text message could turn my life upside down. But last winter, I went through one of the scariest weeks of my life, all because of a message that came from my own phone number. It all started on a cold Monday evening. I was sitting in my small apartment scrolling through Instagram. Suddenly my phone buzzed with a new text message. I unlocked the screen and saw it was from my own number. At first, I thought it was a prank or a glitch. The message said, "I'm watching you." I stared at the screen, heart pounding. I checked the number again. It was definitely mine. I called my phone from my roommate's phone. It rang. No problem. I replied to the message with, "Who is this?" No answer. Minutes later, another message came. "You can't hide." I tried calling my carrier. They told me there was no problem with my account, and no one else was using my number. I felt a cold sweat. That night, I kept checking my phone. Every few minutes, a new message appeared. "Look outside. Don't trust anyone. I'm closer than you think." I started feeling like I wasn't alone in my apartment. I checked the locks on every door and window. They were all secure. I texted my roommate Sarah, who was working late. I told her about the messages. She told me to call the police if I felt unsafe, but I wasn't sure what to say. How do you explain that your own phone number is sending you threats? The next day I went to work, but I couldn't focus. My phone kept buzzing with more messages. At lunch, I showed my phone to a friend. He looked worried and suggested I get a new phone number. I agreed and called my carrier again. But later that evening, something worse happened. My phone started sending messages by itself from my number to my own contacts. Texts like, "I'm inside," and "watching you all." My phone wouldn't stop. I tried to turn it off. It wouldn't power down. I unplugged it, took out the battery, but when I turned it on again, the messages kept going. I felt trapped. I stayed awake all night, staring at the screen. At dawn, I heard a noise outside my door. A soft knock. I froze. I looked through the peephole. No one. I opened the door slowly. Nothing. But when I stepped outside, I saw footprints in the snow, leading to my window. My heart jumped. I went inside and locked everything again. That day, I told Sarah to stay with me. She brought her laptop and some old phones. We tried to figure out what was happening. We scanned my phone for viruses, but nothing showed up. It was as if something was controlling my phone remotely. At one point, I got a message from my own number that said, "Look behind you." I spun around. No one. I told Sarah. She said maybe it was someone messing with me to scare me. But I felt real fear. On the third night, the messages stopped. But the silence felt worse. Then, on the fourth night, the power went out. It was pitch black. My phone turned on by itself. A new message appeared on the screen. It read, "I'm not done." Suddenly, I heard the door creak. I grabbed a flashlight and my keys. I called Sarah. She was on her way. I waited, shaking. The door handle turned slowly. But before I could react, my phone buzzed again. This time, the message was a photo. It was me, standing in the dark hallway, holding my phone. I didn't know how the photo was taken. I dropped the phone, and it shattered on the floor. The door opened, but no one was there. I never figured out who sent the messages, or how they used my own phone number. I moved out a week later. But sometimes, at night, my phone still lights up. And I get a message from my own number, no words, just a photo, a dark, empty room, waiting.